Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Day 3 of quarantine and going a little stir crazy. So we are playing some Historic today. So it's the format we've been playing the last couple days. It is Arena's extended format, so all the cards in Arena plus 20 cards they add in every quarter as part of their anthologies. This is a budget deck, so a lot of what we did on the channel early on was budget builds. So this is one. It's an easy build to get into the format if you're interested in playing. Have a couple cards hanging around, but not a huge amount. So this particular build, like with all my budget builds, they come in at 10 mythic or rare wild cards combined. This particular one has 10 rare wild cards in it. Everything else in the 75 is all commons or uncommons. So what we're going to be playing today is a take on Mono Black Devotion. We play this a lot in Standard. But basically we're trying to get a bunch of pips, so a bunch of swamps in our casting cost, and then play out Grey Merchant of Asphodel, which drains our opponent and gains us life equal to our devotion to black. So I've opted in this build to go with more of a disruptive package, a lot of kind of pseudo discard hateberry creatures. So I'll feature those. So we have Brain Maggot, which is a new card from the anthology sets. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it and exile it until Brain Maggot leaves the battlefield. You also have Kitesail Freebooter, which is basically the same, just it also has a condition that it can't hit creatures. Then you have Yarok's Fenlurker, which forces your opponent to exile a card from their hand. So you have basically 12 sources of hand disruption in the main board. For card draw, we have Foulmire Knight, 2 of, but it's also a 1-mana Death Toucher, which allows us to block and hold back the early game. And then Dusk Legion Zealot, which draws us a card and loses a life. 1 of Tymaret, just as some main board. Graveyard Hate, also is a pretty good blocker. Then we have Midnight Reaper is one of our rares. Whenever another creature dies, we get to draw a card and lose a life. You have a couple Murderous Riders and a couple Ayaras. Ayara, whenever a creature enters the battlefield. In this case, all our creatures are black, so it works with the condition. Opponent loses a life, we gain a life, and then we can also sack another creature to draw a card. Phyrexian Arena is a card if you play Commander that you're probably very familiar with, but it was reprinted in Historic. So at the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card, lose a life. So we're trying to offset like the life loss with the life gain. We have Nightmare Shepherd, which whenever a creature dies, a non-token, you can exile it from your graveyard and instead create a 1/1 copy of it. So you can have your Grey Merchant die and then get it back. You can sack it to Ayara, so it works out pretty cool like that. Ravenous Chupacabra is a nice card to have in the deck. It is a 4-mana 2/2 that destroys a creature when it enters the battlefield. So kind of that and Murderous Rider are a removal package. And then 1 Eldest Reborn. So one of the original sagas. Opponent sacks a creature or planeswalker, discards a card, and then we put a creature or planeswalker from one of the graveyards onto the battlefield. In terms of mana base, nice and simple, 19 swamps. We have 1 Castle Locthwain as our 10th rare, and then a couple Bojuka Bogs, which was reprinted. Basically, enters the battlefield, you exile all the cards from your opponent's graveyard, helps with the combos and like Uros and stuff. And then a couple Barren Moors, which is one of the cycle lands. You can pay a mana to discard it and draw a card in place. The sideboard wise, we have Agonizing Remorse versus the control matchups, just more disruption. A couple cast downs is removal. Knight of Malice versus the white decks. There's a lot of white aggro going around, but also like Teferi decks, stuff like that. They can't target it with any of the removal. Some Noxious Grasp for green and white stuff. A couple Underworld Dreams, want to try this out against control, attacks them on a different axis. Traditional creature removal won't be able to do it, so whenever they draw a card, they lose a life. And then 3 Virulent Plagues. This was a card printed specifically into Historic. Field of the Dead is legal, so this shuts off Field of the Dead triggers. It's kind of a non-bow with our Nightmare Shepherd, but I think it's fine because we can't beat a go-wide state. So let's play some matches. We are currently plat 4. Try to see if we can move our way to Mythic and go from there. I also have a budget white version of the deck, white life gain aggro. I will play that one there hopefully either tomorrow, depending on how long this one goes, today or tomorrow, and then have those up as well. So as always, if you enjoy the content, you're catching this on YouTube, if you can, drop a like or a comment. It helps out the channel quite a bit. This hand's very slow. I think we mulligan. Okay, this hand's much better. I'm gonna put away the Eldest Reborn here, I think. And I think we go Fenlurker, disrupt their hand. Okay, so it's a ramp deck. It's likely a field deck. I want to guarantee I hit my third land, so I'm going to go with this first. Perfect. So no follow-up plays nice here. Ideally, still don't know if it's a field deck or just like a Sultai ramp deck. I think what I'm gonna do is just Arena this turn, and then I can Freebooter and Fenlurker next turn. Ideally, if I draw the land, it's the more mana efficient play here. Rejuvenator. So it's likely a Field of the Dead deck. Hey Quantum, how's it going? They do have 5 unique lands. Oy. Let's see if we can find... Well, that sucks. Drew 3 extra cards, never hit a land. So they have Cavalier here. Okay, so it's Yarok field. Gonna kill Yarok this turn. Finally. I'm doing alright. Getting a little stir crazy being home, but it is what it is. I think we take out Yarok. They also missed a land drop, which is relevant. Let's see if they want to trade here. Okay, so they have Cavalier. They have Field of the Dead. So this is the deck that I played to get up to this level. They attack in. Chupacabra is not bad. It adds to our devotion. I have 5 mana here. I think we just set up for a Gary, maybe? Or let's just Chupacabra here. They're going to get Yarok back on top. Right now we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that we could drain them for. Okay, so what I can do is I can do Grey Merchant, then play out the Nightmare Shepherd, and then if I need to, I can Murderous Rider my Grey Merchant, and then try to win that way. Interesting, they put the land on top. So I'm just trying to get chip damage in here. If we draw land... That's 6 mana, so I can't really do it this turn. I have another Cavalier. So if you plan on playing the Cavalier and you have the land, you're better off playing the land first. Okay, so we can just win now. Hopefully. Drain him for a bunch. No attacks. And then we just Grey Merchant next turn. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if they don't gain life, then we got it. No blocks here. Okay, so they take an extra turn. Okay, they go Uro. And they can escape Uro, which kind of changes the math here. They have 9 cards, so they can exile 5. So actually what I'm going to do next turn, I'll throw Dusk Legion in front here. Because if I play Nightmare Shepherd, then I can block and then force them that they can't attack. Cool. More lands. So I'm at 7 lands. So I could play both. So I could wait on combat and just do that, which probably is the case. See what they want to attack with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can hit him for 10, which isn't enough yet. The Uro kind of screwed us up. So they Maelstrom Pulse. They're at 3. That puts 4 in. It's a little annoying. Might just be too slow. I have 8 mana next turn, so I can play out a couple things here. Sport of Zombies is proving to be quite formidable. So the Uro kind of did us in there. Gonna take the 6. Yeah, I think we're just, if they had the removal there, which hurt. Can't really do much here. Could have drained for 2 more, but I'm dead anyways. Okay, let's bring in the Virulent Plagues. The Uro that turn killed us. We had lethal if they didn't gain the life. So in this matchup, I want Virulent Plagues for sure and some Noxious Grasps. I don't think we want the Agonizing Remorse. Or actually, instead of the Freebooters, let's bring in the Remorse, because it can exile Uro, which I prefer. Fenlurker's fine. Tymaret's fine. Foulmire Knight's probably cut. In this matchup, because it goes long, I don't think I want the arenas, because it's more of a liability. Eldest Reborn's not good in this matchup. I think we keep everything else. Maybe just go down one Remorse. Their deck's like, if it's the exact list I'm playing as well, the Jeff Hooglin list, it's 31 lands. So more than half the deck is lands. Keep this hand. We have these too early to cycle. We have some removal as well. You want to keep Yarok off the battlefield. All the lands trigger for 2 if you cast it. And if you want to see more of this deck, I did post a video yesterday on it, so it's up on YouTube as well. Play a couple matches with it. So kind of would have preferred like a discard spell a little earlier. Just so we can try to catch like a turn 2 play. No Grazer on 1 helps. Playing quite slow. So this matchup, they probably bring in the... That's actually really good. Ooh. I'm actually going to take the Rejuvenator because it takes some further off from playing Yarok. So they shocked in here because they want to cycle the Tranquil Thicket. And then because we have the answer for Yarok anyways. Just naturally drawn to Uro. So we need to be mindful of the blast zones. We have 2/2 drops down right now. We do have Bojuka Bogs, which would be good. We can hit one of those. Alright, well, I mean, we're Grey Merchanting next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Just see if they cast Yarok this turn. Bojuka Bog is the land, or is the land that exiles your opponent's graveyard. Bojuka Bog. So Nexus of Fate. I think we just get the Risen Reef. It's the card they can play this turn. And then we have Murderous Rider if they play a creature up. Spelt like that. So they could play another land for the turn. Oh, they only have... So they have Nexus of Fate, where we can exile their Nexus of Fate. But I actually think we just Grey Merchant here. And then attack in, because they're going to blow up the board. If they didn't have this Blast Zone, then we would have definitely Fenlurkered there. But we can just apply a bunch of damage. Because if they wipe the board, they get these both back. So they have to pay 3 and that. And then they can play out one of these afterwards. They just opt to take another turn. Okay, those go away. So it's the only downside of having creature-based disruption. Okay, that's actually good for the turn because I can Ayara. We deal some damage this way. This forces a card out of their hand. And then they have to exile. Okay, so they get rid of Risen Reef, so interesting to see what's there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If they don't interact with our board, we just Grey Merchant for the win next turn. They're just trying to make zombies, that's fine. They do have... Okay, so they can bring back Uro. So it brings them up to 8. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus it entering the battlefield 10. Good game. Ooh, Disdainful Stroke. Okay. Was not expecting that. So it makes it a little bit more interesting now. Definitely wasn't expecting the stroke. Ah, crap. Because now they get double Uro. Guess we could have attacked last turn. They are somewhat forced into blocking. Yeah, you could definitely play Leyline of the Void. Just because this is a budget version, I'm not. But it is something you can look at. Okay, Noxious Grasp and Rider are both very good here. So we'll do this. Do this, and then just attack in. Actually, I'm just gonna hold back because I wanna, if they have removal, sack. Just another Yarok. They haven't hit field yet, which is good. Ooh, that's also good. So I want to see what we draw here. We can get rid of the Uro from their hand or from their graveyard. This is it, Bojuka Bog. So exile their graveyard, play this out, and then say go. We do need to try to get rid of this Yarok. Ah, shit. Double Cavalier. This most certainly finds Field of the Dead. So we gotta try to draw Virulent Plague here. Interesting. They go with the Arch over Field of the Dead. So they can attack in with Yarok. I'm not going to block. Still have 2 Grey Merchants in our deck. We have a 5% chance of drawing Grey Merchant, 8% of Virulent Plague. I think we just do this now in case I draw another 2-drop, because what I want to do is block and then sack so they don't gain the life. They do have enough mana to draw a card. Okay, we got Agonizing Remorse, so I can get rid of Cavalier. Probably fine, because if this dies they get another Cavalier back and I don't want him to get that chain going. Don't care as much about the pulse this turn. No attacks. They draw a card. They can't really attack with the zombies right now. Like, there was a play to holding onto the Remorse, but I figure with this much mana they're going to be able to play out everything that they need. Yeah, and they just hit another Cavalier. Probably get Fabled Passage is my guess. Fabled Passage means 4 zombies are coming in. They have 17 cards as well, so they're getting close to the Nexus. They failed to find. See what they're doing here. Just the 1 attack, so block. Sack to draw a card. Alright, so we got Brain Maggot and the land. So I think we Brain Maggot first. Just get the Yarok. So 1, 2, 3, that's not enough, so I need to hit Grey Merchant this turn. So I do think I need to just sack this. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1 short. Oh, no, it's Xaxes because of Ayara. Got there. Think we do the same. And they brought in a lot more removal and they brought in the strokes, so we do need to be mindful of that. The thing is, this doesn't hit Yarok or Uro, which are the ones I want to kill. I think I cut down a Brain Maggot and I go up an Agonizing Remorse. And I think we go Do I want the cast downs? Probably not. Considering bringing these in just as they draw cards. Because like we just want, they don't really gain much life in this deck. So any chip damage will help. Yeah, Quantum, when Grey Merchant comes down, it comes down with a bit of heat. 2 turns to draw a land. This is the best card in the matchup. And we have Ayara, and we have a lot of disruption. 2 turns to draw a land. 1 turn to draw a land. Perfect. Perfect. So we have a couple plays next turn. And I think it involves attacking their hand, actually. They can Cavalier next turn, which I'd rather they don't. Oy. Yarok and Cavalier. So they're going to hold up the Disdainful Stroke next turn. I'm actually just going to get rid of the Cavalier. Going to just hold this back. So let's go Ayara this turn. Yeah, let's just go Ayara this turn. Gonna keep this because I can sack to Ayara if we don't draw another land. This turn's likely just Yarok. We have 44. Chance to draw a land is 44%. Perfect. So I'm going to do this now because they don't have Disdainful Stroke up. I want to draw a land next turn, so I'm going to use Ayara to sack the Dusk Legion Zealot. They have 2 Woodland Cemeteries. So they didn't hit it this turn. Perfect. So let's go Fenlurker. Force a card out of their hand. Get the counter out. Attack for 2. They can double block, but usually you want a critical mass for Risen Reef. Just play this out. Field of Ruin doesn't have targets. And I'm not going to play out both of these in case they have Maelstrom Pulse. Okay, so Cavalier is a problem. They hit another Cavalier. And they hit Rejuvenator. So next turn, probably just going to Fenlurker. And play out a Virulent Plague. I'm going to hold these back. I want blockers. Actually, since they played that, we're going to go this. And play out the Plague. So now they draw cards, they take damage. I can... that's bad. It's going to gain him life, which is a bit of an issue, and just give him more card advantage. Their zombies die, thankfully, but they're getting life off those. Need some removal. Jeez. All the Risen... Not a bad 2 cards to draw into off the top deck. That could potentially find them Maelstrom Pulse or Assassin's Trophy. They don't have a green-black. Now they do. Just going to play it out. Okay, so we can Agonizing Remorse. Take something from their hand. Okay, they trophy here, which is fine. Two lands in hand. With Cavalier, I'm actually gonna... I think we just get rid of Assassin's Trophy, because if this dies, I don't want them to blow up this plague. And then just play this out. Get rid of another land. They get 2 scries off the top there. So just need a Grey Merchant. This is the theme of the deck. Just need a Grey Merchant. So I'm probably gonna sack. Okay, so they had the Pulse. And now they get 2 zombies. And they get 2 scries as well. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 damage off a Grey Merchant. See if they attack. They do. So I'm going to block and then sack in response so they don't gain the life. Don't really help right now, but it's 2 more points of drain. We also have just a 15 toughness Tymaret. Bottom, 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 bottom. Top, top. That is terrifying. Okay, well, they're getting tons of triggers here. We need to find Grey Merchant. 10% chance of finding it over 2 draws. They're also pretty likely to find like Nexus of Fate. Okay, so Nexus was there. They did bin an Assassin's Trophy. Okay, so they have like all the zombies in the world. We are at 24 life. We do also have one Virulent Plague left. Midnight Reaper's a redraw. Sure, take a point of damage. Okay, these are free blocks, so we do this, sack this to Ayara, didn't want to land. Then we'll eat something in their graveyard. Maelstrom Pulse. Just get rid of those two. We could have exiled creatures for some life, but we're dead if we don't draw. Grey Merchant. Okay, well, do this. That's 32, 36, yeah. One time off the top. Not this time, not this time. 11% chance. Just never saw it that game. Also drew a good chunk of cards off our library and just never saw it. Nope. Nope. Go by friends list. Maybe we want Legion's End in the board. Actually, that'd be rare. Yeah. They got us. GG. Oh, no stuff. We had a couple outs there, just never drew into them. Midnight Reaper would have allowed us to draw two. Quite a few cards we could have drawn in that case. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this one up. It went pretty long, 45 minutes. So I'll come back tomorrow with the mono white budget version. You can catch us up on YouTube tomorrow. Otherwise, thanks for stopping by and stay safe out there. Thanks for watching.